who I have been waiting on, a life worth living. I would like to engage the memories of everybody present. I want you to think back to a time and place that in most of your lives was probably a happy time and place. I want you to think back to what you were doing and where you were at on or shortly after your 18th birthday. Now, while you conjure up this memory in your minds, I want to share with you the memory that I hold of where I was and what I was doing shortly after my 18th birthday. Now, you may have gathered from my brief introduction that my talk is about monsters and how one in particular was able to remove his mask and regain some stature amongst the ranks of real men. 38 and a half years ago, and approximately 69 days after my 18th birthday, a panel of 3 judges imposed a sentence of death upon me to be carried out by way of electrocution for my role in a very brutal crime. Then something happened, something miraculous happened, something that to this day I can only see as a divine intervention. When in 1978, the United States Supreme Court struck down Ohio's death statute and ruled it unconstitutional, commuting the death sentences of 105 men and women to either 15 or 20 years to life in prison. That was a very joyous time in a lot of people's lives, and a not so joyous times in the lives of a lot of other people, namely those who wanted us dead. Either way, the monster in me was not quite ready to tap out. And to be absolutely truthful with you, I don't think I was ready for him to tap out. And for the next 20, maybe 25 years, I was caught up in this mindset called monster mode. Or in the lingo of my world, this very secure and gated community that you are all a part of right now, I was caught up in the game. The drugs, the violence, the sex, the extortion, you name it, I was a part of it. And in the lives of a whole lot of people, I really was that thing that went thump in the night. Now, all along this journey of darkness that I was on, there were some seeds of light being planted in my life that I was totally oblivious to at the moment. There was a lot of people who seemingly cared more about me than I cared about myself. Those very people are responsible for having helped guide me, helped me navigate my way through what I consider to be a life full of issues. Those people were very numerous, and I wish it was possible for me to thank each and every one of them today, but it's not possible, and I must acknowledge some of those people right here, right now. And one of the very people that I would like to acknowledge right now is a woman that I met shortly after my mother passed away. Her name is Vera Gales, Reverend Vera Gales, whose maternal concerns have had the most powerful impact upon my life. She and several other people who entered my life at different times are the people that I credit with me being the man that I am right now. There's a lot of things that occurred in my life over a period of time that by no stretch of the imagination am I proud of. And as a result of some of the things that I've done in my life, I do believe that that's one of the reasons why I've been in prison for as long as I've been in prison. I left a lot of crooked footprints in the throughout the sands of my life, a lot of which were so crooked that the monster in me didn't even want to look them in the eye. Can you imagine how disgusted with yourself you would have to be to wake up every morning, to brush your teeth with your eyes closed because you didn't want to look at what you knew was going to be looking back at you from the glass? Well, that's the low to which I had sunk. But I can stand proudly before you today as a living, breathing example that change is possible. but only if the one in need of it believes that it'll work. I believe it. I'm thoroughly convinced. From death row to level 1 reintegration to standing on this stage right now in participation of a historical TED event, TEDx event, I'm convinced it works. And so should you be. As well as willing to take a more active interest in helping change the criminogenic thinking and behavior patterns of the thousands of young people, namely young men, currently locked up in Ohio right now. 95+% of whom will be returning unto society. So the question that I ask you, those of you who are here from society, is how do you want us to come home? Think about that question before you answer it. But regardless of what your answer to that question is, my goal is to continue paying it forward by taking full advantage of every opportunity that I have to make a meaningful impact upon the lives of as many young men as I possibly can, especially through the programs that are now being offered through the Reintegration Center. I have always known that change was possible, but I didn't always believe it. I do now. Because anything or anyone capable of turning that kind of monster, take a real good look at it, into this kind of man, if I must say so myself, shall either be capped in a bottle or etched in stone. President Theodore Roosevelt once said, to educate a man in mind and not in morals is to educate a menace to society. I'm now saying that the only hindrance that there can be to the concept of rehabilitation will be a lack of it in those that you entrust with the responsibility of making it happen. I am who I have been waiting on, a life worth living. Thank you.